My name is Matt. I'm a co and guest teacher at the Dearmouring Arts training since I think I started in 2019 with the induction in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And I have done, I think, 8 trainings. So the coming training in June will be my 9th. And I'm a Dearmouring practitioner, hands-on in all kind of modalities since 2012. I'm as well a facilitator and tantra practitioner since 2 decades, and I'm in the Dearmouring training as a consent and trauma facilitator. So I bring a communication piece in, how to create the container and how to engage, how to avoid uh, traumatizing dynamics, and how to touch. So that's my thing. I'm very happy to see you guys all here, and we go into deeper questions and answers later on. That's for me now. And to my left, no, this is is my dear friend and colleague Dan. Please.
So I'm Dan. I'm also a co-founder of Dearmouring Arts. I've been doing Dearmouring since some time. Honestly, I don't really know what to say about me, but if you have any questions later on in a talk, you can ask me. I'll freely say as much as you want to know. I think the main thing to say is really I'm super committed to this kind of work, and I've been doing it for most of my life in one shape or another. So I have probably 35, 40 years of experience in working with people, working with myself, working with energies in all sorts of different ways. But as I say, feel free to ask me, and we can dig deeper into it if you want.
So
Shall
then we
we?
have
Yeah.
just we have a few people in here who have done the Dearmouring training at least once, and some people have done that twice, and some people are here who have been assisting. Are you willing to raise your hand if you have been in the Dearmouring training somehow and have done some work with us? At least 3
Yeah.
people, 4
Yeah.
people. So if,
Yeah.
nice, thank you. And who of you has done some dearmoring of any kind in form of getting a session, or have been in another training, or have done something? Please raise your hand. More of you?
Okay. So
Okay.
pretty
And
much
yeah,
everybody
pretty
but
much
two. Yeah.
everybody.
Great.
And who of you is a professional in that field? Who puts your hand on bodies as a body worker, as a facilitator, or as a kind of professional? Who is doing hands on bodies?
Okay. Quite
Okay,
a lot. Good.
good. Okay,
Great.
perfect. Yeah.
Great.
So there will be a good conversation then.
Yeah. So is there anybody here that has absolutely no knowledge of the armoring at all? They're like the armoring what? So we can, okay, two. Great, great. So we have a variety. So how we're gonna do this is potentially, shall we ask you to give us some pointers in questions and direction of this webinar? You can write it, you can say it, just to give us some kind of a brain food, because we could talk about this for hours, literally. So we don't have hours. So let's kind of focus it to the specific questions that you may have, or topics that you'd like to discuss, or dynamics that you want to open up. The title of this webinar is Dearmouring Demystified. So it's kind of geared up to depicting the whole concept of the armoring and just presenting it in the best way as we can in this hour or whatever time we have. There are a number of different ways to de-armor. Pretty much every practitioner will have their own style, will develop their own style of de-armoring, so there is not like one way of doing it. So knowing all of that, I'm sure there are plenty of questions and topics and stuff that we can take this conversation into. So feel free to ask or write.
Yeah. And that said, any other question around the topic is welcome. We cannot promise that we can answer every question, but we're just doing our best. Okay. So maybe Deanne, you and I, we can just say a few words just from our own perspective, what we think and believe what de-armoring is, just like to giving our 5 cents. That doesn't mean that we have the truth and that that's the only way of de-armoring, but that's the way how we have done it or how we do it, and this is how we teach
go for it.
Okay, so let's start it. So my way into de-armoring, and I can share that with a bitter pill and with the tears in my eyes, kind of came into I was in a kind of demo session with somebody who wanted to show me what de-armoring is, and I was just curious. And so there was a tantra practitioner with a de-armoring practitioner, and the practitioner was a woman, and he said to her, just show him. There was no communication, there was nothing going on, and my experience was she was just like starting to walk on one point with her heels on my arm, because when she started putting her hands and her kind of fists and knuckles in my body, I was just like trying to pretend I'm not feeling anything here. This is, you cannot get me. Just like whatever you cause me on pain, I will not respond. And then she got kind of challenged or triggered because she was used to get the response that she wanted to have. And I was just kind of holding back and just like wanted to be the tough guy. And then at one point it started to hurt so badly that I really started crying. Yeah. And that was my first initiation into de-armoring. And I said, just like, what the heck is that? I don't want to have anything to do with that. This kind of dynamic has created a school in Europe where many participants learned de-armoring or got de-armoring, and that school got called out just recently in a really interesting documentary here in Sweden. I have come to this conclusion that if I want to put my hand professionally on somebody else's body, I just want to know what trauma is. I want to know how to respond with trauma. And I just want to go to the depth what de-armoring is. So my understanding of de-armoring is that we all carry a certain conditioned protection around us as a survival mechanism. And that survival mechanism is to some degree very important and needed to get our appreciation, our needs met, and and survive when we're little. And if we don't have an opportunity emotionally, physically, mentally to choose when and how we use this armor, then we literally dependent on our behavior to run with a protection shield to our life. What doesn't make us more open and more free and more liberated. And my way of de-armoring was to find for every person individually I'm working with the access point for them to let down their guard in a way that they find the deepest potential version of themselves by choice and not by pressure and by pushing. And that's my dedication and my commitment to de-armoring, letting people find their own access point to let their guard, their shield, their armor down and finding the best version of themselves. That's one version. There are many more, but that's the version for today. Deanne?
Before I start, Klaus and Violetta, could you please turn your cameras on so we can see you? It's just nice to see everybody here. So de-armoring for me, if you like, as for Matt, the definition of it changes as years go on. Hola, thank you. My current version, if you like, the deepest understanding that I have about de-armoring is armor is anything that stands between me and God, between me and mastery. So not God in any religious sense, but in actual sense, as anything that stands between me and fully awakened spirit incarnate is Ama. It's something that I need to work through, let go of, so I can merge with the field, with the one, to really completely loosen everything that is holding back from experiencing life in every single possible way I can. So that's kind of the definition, current definition that I harbor. And so, depending also the style of the armoring, my style changes depending on what the definition is. So when I started the armoring, I was very much into physical pressure and physical the armoring. And then that started changing. And so recently, it's over the last maybe couple of years or something, it's very much ego work and work with subtle body. And it's not very subtle work. It can be quite, it is quite powerful and intense and like super fucking intense. But it's energetics. It's not physical, actually. It's kind of gone away from physical and it's gone into understanding that I am energy. I'm not physical being, I'm an energetic being. And so out of that understanding, everything changed. The way I work, the way I deal with people, the way I explain it, the way I see, the way I work with it changed. So, and then coming out of that, that anything that stands between me and my full manifestation, if you like, realization, is Ama. This can't happen in a session. It's unrealistic to think that that's going to happen in 2 hours or 5 hours or even 10 sessions. So the need for long path opens up. And so that's why we call it a lifestyle. And we don't call it, it is a lifestyle. The armoring for us is a lifestyle. It's a way of life. It's not just I'm gonna have one session. It's I'm just gonna engage for the rest of my life in deepening my presence and understanding who I am and how to work with life and all of that. So it starts being a way of looking at everything that I do, everything that I think about, everything that I feel, everything that I experience through the lens of, am I really real? And how deep am I? And what could I do to get even deeper and more real and more in touch with the zigginess, the bzz, bzz of life itself. So if you like, it's adding more life to life on an ongoing basis. So this is kind of, in a nutshell, what the armoring is for me at this current stage. If you ask me in a couple of years, it's probably going to be slightly different.
Yeah, I mean, adding on that, just like we have all our stories, and I guess each and one of you has done some personal development work and primal therapy to a degree or something. And that means we're all carrying a package with us that we have all kind of adapted to different behaviors in life. And as I said that before, an armor is literally something that is comes from the a Reichian kind of dynamic, is a panzer, is a shield. Just if you getting hit emotionally or physically to some degree, you just create a protection. And that protection is very important when you need it. So the thing is, when we carry a protection with us, it's good to have when you need it. But the art of that is that to let go when you want intimate, or when you need to be vulnerable, when you need to show a deeper layer of your emotional intelligence to engage with somebody else. And my question is always for myself as a human being, to look back in my life, where and how have I created that armor, without making it kind of wrong or bad, but having a look and seeing as well that we're all resourceful beings, and that we need on one point as well to acknowledge and even give some gratitude for our capacity to create a shield and the armor, to become aware of it, because we can't let go of something that we don't see or that we're not aware. So we just literally go into that direction, that we bring awareness to what holds us back What is that shield that we can't see? What is that personality structure that we're carrying around to avoid certain feelings? Yeah. And Dan, would you like to go into the questions first? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of cooking on it. Yeah.
Okay.
So the main aspect of the armoring that actually differentiates, or the aspect of it that makes it the armoring rather than description of it being like a massage or something else, it's the type of space that the armoring practitioner provides for a client. That really is the differentiating part, if you like, between the armoring and anything else. And for that reason, there are literally endless ways of offering the armoring. Literally as many humans there are on the planet, that many styles of the armoring there are. So the main aspect of the armoring that makes it the armoring is the space holding. It's not so much, in fact not at all, about what I do to my client or how I touch them. It's where do I come from inside myself when I touch them. It's the tone of voice and the energy that comes out of me, the way I look at them when I'm with them, that will install deep trust in the client. And once person starts going into trust, I mean really deep trust, and this is a skill, this is why the armoring takes some time to learn. Once the trust is developed, the body, the spirit will naturally want to unfold, will naturally want to just like, and soften and come out of the shell, because that's a natural response of a, if you like, it's a soul's calling to manifest itself in this life. And all it needs is just a safe container, safe place where you can just relax and shine. And so space holding is the key aspect, if you like, of a successful session. And very often what that looks like is a person is going to come to contact me for a session and they're going to be like all over the place and in the usual daily mindset. And then skillfully, the practitioner I will help them to just drop into, just relax, just stop, just relax. Here you can trust me, we can just be human with each other. And through various skills and processes that I've gone through, or every practitioner will eventually go through, if they want to call themselves a Dearmouring practitioner, it's like there's a road that has to be taken, will kind of give them ability to really look at someone in such a way and to speak to them in such a way that this trust will simply appear. It will simply just be space of trust. And then there are different ways of accessing the pain body. I call it pain body. There are, I guess, different names to name the energetic structure that holds the armor within our energetic system. So let's call it a pain body. So I can access it physically. I can ask a client to lie down and I touch certain places on the body, which are holding they're like doorways, keyholes into the pain body. And by accessing it, and they will have charge, there will be very distinct places on the body where you touch it and suddenly stuff starts happening within a client. So we can do it physically. We can also do it energetically. So without touching the body, just presenting my energy field close to energy field of a client will have a massive effect on them. So the armor can start shifting. We can do it through conversation. Super effective way, call it a talk therapy, just asking very particular questions in a very particular tone of voice at the right time to corner the ego and to start opening pockets of hidden psyche parts in a person. We can do it through through the sound. The sound, I work with it a lot, actually. I even run a training on it, sound and breath. Because sound can travel through, and it does travel, not can, it does travel through the bones, through the body, to places that I can't physically touch, let's say chest or head. I can't physically go through the rib cage, but I can pew, whoo, zzz, send a sound and vibrate, resonate the frequency of the armor that I wish to touch, which has immediate effect of loosening up and setting this, expanding the field of awareness, expanding the, like, loosening up, the dense energy becomes more airy and then spacey, and then it dissipates. So there are various ways that we can de-armor a person. So I think,
Evie, I just saw your message. You need to leave, but I just would like to just jump into that question that you just had. So maybe you have this 2-3 minutes. An important piece before it comes to de-armoring in any kind of form on a professional level, and it's a different thing in a private setting when you are with a lover, for example, or when you're intimate with another person. But specifically when it comes to de-armoring, it can be a challenge when it comes to de-armoring in an intimate connection in relationship, because de-armoring in itself might trigger some responses of fear, of protection, and of defenses. And sometimes when you are in a relationship with somebody intimate and this is getting triggered, specifically when it comes to emotional pain, it's exactly the cause in a relationship that is most of the time pointing where the problem is. So the person who's causing the problem can't literally create the de-armoring in that dynamics. But when it comes to a professional setting, so I work with a dynamic of consent and somatic consent based on the nervous system and how the nervous system works. And we just break that down in the training in detail. That when you have certain body parts that they are very fragile, or areas that are energetically very fragile, that you are afraid of being touched, or you only want to be touched in a certain way, that it needs, before it comes to touch and connection, it needs an, I would say, a skill upgrade that you are capable of communicating exactly how and where you want to be touched, so that you are the source of guidance, and that the person who is doing it needs to be in a neutral connection with you to lead you to a release of tension and protection, that you can let go of an armor. Yeah. If you don't feel safe with somebody else touching you in a certain way because there has not been a communication dynamic created or developed, then why would you let somebody else touch on parts that you're feeling fragile about? And this is part of a de-armoring practitioner being capable of being energetically, emotionally, physically connected, that somebody can guide you in letting go of the shield and the armor. In the first place, what this shield and armor needs, in your case, I guess, is that you acknowledge that you have it. And as I said that before, that you are well resourced to have it. But the next step is being capable of letting the armor go when you don't need it anymore, because most of the time we have forgotten why we carry that armor around. But the free part of yourself that don't needs that armor, and so that you have the free choice when you can let the armor down when you don't need it, is vital in de-armoring. Yeah. But if you are in a situation where you need to protect yourself, please keep your armor, and make sure that you get out of the situation as soon as you can.
Thank you. And I will listen to the rest of the recording. I have to go now.
All right.
So much. Bye.
Ciao.
Thanks for your question.
Shall we open up for some questions now? I think we talked and we kind of gave a framework, the groundwork, if you like.
Yeah.
Let's have some specifics and to see what needs to be clarified or explained more or talked about. So feel free to ask.
And feel free to unmute yourself and let's use our voice.
Hello, Christian here from Sweden.
Hi, Christian.
Does it only acquires pain, or
No.
are there other emotions that you use to release and dearmor?
Dean?
Yeah, I can go.
Okay.
So pain is one thing that has to be released, if you like. But if you think about it, in the definition that I see it, like anything that stands between you and God, there's going to be a heap of things, limiting belief systems mainly, all sorts of dynamic structures. They are not pain, but are stopping you from stopping the energy flow through the body. So some will be fear, some will be confusion, some will be anger, some will be frustration, some will be attachment and like holding on. I mean, you know, some will be pain, some will be pleasure. Like there's all sorts of things. Like there's, you know, like, I mean, really, like as colorful as many colors exist. Really, that's how many potentials there are. I find that when the energetic body is cold, so let's say a person comes from the street, they lie on a mat instantly and they're ready for a bodywork session. The body is cold, the energy is not running freely. It's harder to let go because it's like frozen energy. So they might experience more pain if you press into something you hold. However, if let's say they start doing some breathing and warming up and moving the body and energy starts running, you press the same point, it becomes intense experience rather than pain. It's not the sensation itself shifts into a different definition of itself. So yes, sometimes it's painful, but many times it's very different sensations, if you like.
I would like to add to that a little story from the last Dearmouring training that we had here in Sweden, and there was a situation. So I teach in the first few days this dynamic of, you know, consent, and I create different engagements, and so that people really learn the conversation and the connection and the questions and how to ask and all that. So we were a nice group, and I just created the dynamics. And on one point, I completely fucked up an exercise. Yeah, and the situation was just like, and I noticed just like, I was aware of just like, shit, I just like crashed it. And there was this part in me that got so embarrassed and shameful, nearly in a painful way. So I felt so discomfort, so much so that this kind of shame rush came to my body, and kind of the heat came up, and I start noticing it. And there were 45 people in the room observed that, and everything in myself, and even I do that for so long, every part in me told me kind of hide that. So the shield came up, and I just was aware of just like, okay, I need to put that away. And then I wanted to just like, what are you doing? So I said to myself, just like, expose it to the group. So just like I said, I'm apologetic, I completely fucked up the situation. I completely lost the plot, and I feel so embarrassed, and I apologize. I feel so bad. This situation wasn't painful in a way, but it was discomfortable, and I felt so awkward and wrong and bad. And the discomfort was so intense that I actually wanted to run away and hide. And then afterwards, people came to me and said just like, oh my God, we were so happy that you actually did that as a facilitator, that you could admit that you made that mistake. That allows us to make the mistake and show us in our discomfort. So it doesn't have to be pain, but it can be extremely uncomfortable. And you can feel
It very often is.
resistance.
Yeah.
Say again?
I say very often it is very uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable.
It's always uncomfortable, actually. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, cool. Does that answer your question, Christian?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Cool.
I would like to add one thing about pain. I guess none of us likes to cause pain to somebody else. Yeah. And none of us likes pain when it's being caused to us intentionally. But I found about myself as a dearmoring practitioner that we need to have a threshold when we actually go with people through emotional, mental, or physical pain, that we have to be capable of holding somebody else's pain as long they are equipped enough to handle themselves and not getting overwhelmed or maybe even re-traumatized. So yes, pain is a theme, and we need to be comfortable to be with our own pain and with the pain that other people carry.
I have
Someone
this
else.
question. There is someone else.
David Lauda.
Okay, I have a question that I bring with me in these days, and it is okay. People usually know in the world, I'm going to the osteopath because I have a problem with my knee, I have a problem with my back. I go to the doctor to take some medicines when I have a virus, some intoxication, what it is. I'm just trying to, when we go to the armor guy, is very simple, no? Because in our life, we know when I have this problem, I do this, and then it's still not so coming in form. Okay, this is the we need to go to the armor guy when I have this kind of issues, problem. So this is a question that I bring in me, and I open to you.
Matthew
I
Burstein.
don't really get the question. That's maybe
Oh,
was
I
I was
do.
drinking water, but then please.
Okay, I do. So, great question. Basically, I used to describe it like when everything works in your life, you have a job, you have a wife, husband, 2 kids, everything is there. And yet you come home and you feel empty and you look at yourself and think, is this it? Is this really what life has to offer? That's the time when you know you're ready for the armoring. That's one description. Another one could be, let's say we are in 2025. Everybody, literally everybody, is being challenged to fuck. Life is saying, now is the time to look at yourself, and there is a mirror and in your face. So everybody is experiencing it. So it comes a point in people's lives where we really have to start being honest with ourselves because shit isn't working. Life is not happy. Things don't flow smoothly. There are limiting situations in life. There are limiting relationships. There are limiting experiences. There are problems, issues, stuff. Any number of those things, literally endless number of those things, is when you're ready for the armoring. The only question is, do you know that the armoring exists, and do you know what you need? So this is really where this kind of webinars and this kind of work, this is why we're promoting so much, because literally everybody needs the armoring, because none of us are masters. If all of us were fulfilled, happy human beings, then this webinar would be empty. Nobody would come, because why would you come? So this is the end game is very large, if you like. Unity with oneness. It's a huge thing. It's not gonna happen in a second. And so from that perspective, as people learn more about what the armoring actually is and what it can do for you, suddenly you start having session after session after session, and in different ways, and different practitioners and different modalities, working on yourself, and you discover that because it can be done in so many different ways and it can do so many different things for you, this is why it's a lifestyle. For me, it's like ongoing, every day, hours a day, actually, practice, breathing practices, looking at myself, observation. I mean, many, many, many things that are the armoring layers. It's like onion skin with so many layers. And so all of that, all of those veils of illusions, they have to be removed. And that's all the armoring. So really, the answer is endless.
I was
But-
just creating the question backwards by your answer. But what I like to add to that is, you know, I've been working as a de-armoring practitioner for sexual de-armoring. And I don't know with how many hundred people I've been working over the last 10, 15 years. There was not one recurring situation the same. You know, everybody had their own individual course in a way. And so it's a very individualized process, and everybody knows their own kind of areas in their lives on a sensual, sexual, or intimate level where they have challenges. You know, most women feel to some degree pain when they are getting entered too early or when they're not ready. Men having problems with erectile dysfunction because they just carry a lot of contraction in their pelvic area or in their anus area, what is fear-based, you know, all these different things. And most people who are going again and again, like Deanne said, that in your face again and again and again, on one point, you just ask yourself the question, just like, okay, I need help here. What can I do? And like Deanne said that, you know, when we make, you know, advertising or we just like promote de-armoring, people hear about that and then they actually read what is de-armoring, and maybe I need de-armoring, maybe I carry a protection or a shield that I'm not aware of. And then when the suffering is big enough that people can't move on anymore because they know something is wrong and they don't know where to go and how to ask, then somehow de-armoring pops up, and then they're asking themselves, what is it actually? And then they just do their research and then they see, okay, that might be what I exactly need.
I have a couple of
Dennis,
questions.
go for it.
Dennis, please.
Okay, so I'm a practical guy, an engineer. So follow-up questions. How quick does it work? Like, let's say people come to me, let's say a guy comes and has cancer, and I tell him, okay, come 10 times, I'll cure you. Or should I apply the armoring every time he comes to make my session more effective? For how long does it last? And also, how quickly can I de-armor the guy? Should I add additional time to my session? Or let's say a woman comes, she wants to fix her relationship with man. And same situation, like, should I apply the armoring before I do my magic? Like, for me, it's usually one session. I have 1 hour to fix her relationship with the world. So 2 questions. How often do I go to the armoring guy? And for how long does the armoring last? And second question, how quickly the armor can happen? Clear? Thank you.
You want to go? Shall I?
You go first.
Okay. So it's the understanding of the armoring really is. The armoring is dissolving anything that stands between a person and the full expression of their healthy, amazing, open, fluid self. So it works instantaneously in the moment, in the very millisecond. It's not something, this is not an imaginary technique that I'm gonna do something today and maybe something 3 months later is gonna change. That's not the armoring. Maybe it is, but that's not what we're after. We're after instantaneous in the now. It just goes done. It just dissolves. So what you do with your magic is already the armoring. It's not like, shall I do some de-armoring and then I'm gonna do my stuff. You're already doing it. because you're
I do.
shifting from states to state, you're transmuting energy, you're transmuting states. That is dearmoring. That's the definition of dearmoring. So then the question is, how long do I need to do it? Okay, go for it. You have another question.
Yeah, so basically I do the armoring already, so I don't need to call for additional guy and like invite him to the room. No, okay.
And then the question was, how long does it last? For as long as there is pent-up energy, until pent-up energy goes, exactly, that's long. How long? So somebody is going to take for one issue 5 minutes, somebody's going to take 2 minutes, somebody's going to take 20 years. It really depends on them. You see, the thing is that I'm not doing the armoring. My client is doing the armoring. I'm just providing the space where they feel safe, looked after, loved, and protected, while the inner self can like poke the little head behind the walls of protection. Is it safe? And then come into the world. So they are actually doing the work. Yes?
So is the armoring just a generic term for any physical or energetic influence that we apply to people? For example, like what I do, like I can like change energy in the aura of my client on my own, and then person will automatically be open and like the heart opens.
Yes.
So I already do that. So
yeah,
should I?
But that's what I told you the other day.
Should I next time say that I am the armoring professional?
Well, this really depends on if I were you, because personally, I like to bake my craft fully and to really understand what I'm doing and what I'm calling what I'm doing. So maybe let's have some more conversations about it, and so that the concept really lands really deeply into you. Because essentially, yes, I agree. I told you this the other day. You're already doing the armoring. That's why I invited you to the Armoring Summit, because I feel you are the armoring practitioner.
I see. So is it just an umbrella term for all kinds of different methods?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Sure. Thank you. So now I get it.
Yeah. Nice landing. Yeah, that's it. Basically, the armoring describes process of journey towards God, the journey towards full openness, full acceptance of who we are as humans incarnate.
And you know, as DN said, there are so many different ways of de-armoring, and the way of de-armoring that I practice is probably not the way of de-armoring that you would practice, and the way that you practice is something different that I practice. And each and one here is having their own approach, and that's important that we have all our own take on how we actually engaging with energies, how we engaging with that path, you know, and because there are so many infinite people out there, and hopefully the right people finding to the right practitioner. And me as a practitioner, and this is something that I as well promote in the training very profoundly, is I differentiate that in two different categories. You know, one category is the so-called treatment category. You know, it's just like somebody has an right here now a problem with some issues, and then from a treatment perspective, I need to check, am I equipped enough actually to do a fix or to do a treatment? You know, I'm not a chiropractor. Somebody has a kind of a vertebra in the wrong position, I cannot crack bones, and I would not do that. Yeah. And the important piece is that if I'm not capable of doing some certain things that somebody needs, I need to refer that to another person. Yeah. So there would be a charlatan if I say, well, I just can doctor around you and just try to make it happen. I have to have enough broadband and awareness about my skills, and then say, okay, I'm not doing that here because I'm not equipped enough. You know? But within my frame, or within your frame, or with our all frames, we know what we're capable of. So that's the so-called treatment model. And then there is the co-creative model. The co-creative model is that that we just acknowledge the person as an resourceful, equipped being, and then we going with that person together on that journey that might take not only one session, that might take a long series of sessions, that we might go to a certain cause or a roots of a situation, or somehow within that journey it can literally go to another direction where we tap into different themes, you know, and to know when is a treatment or a fixing needed and when is something on another level needed, where it's more like a co-creative process, what can be as well de-armoring on all other levels that we are equipped about. Does it make sense to you? Yeah, good. I don't know.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Let's have some more questions to really understand the concept of dearmoring and what we're talking about here.
Can I ask something?
Please.
Hi, my name is Alex. I am from Athens, Greece.
Hi, Alex.
Hi. I have 2 or 3 questions, if it's okay, or I can make only one. First of all, I am a practitioner already doing to clients dearmoring. Sometimes I can sense and feel the dynamic of the energy, and maybe things are moving at the session. But sometimes I don't know where to drive the energy, send it up, send it down, and yes, sometimes I'm feeling confused. So I would like to ask your perspective.
Shall I? Okay, so this is absolutely normal in my understanding and my experience. And it's a process where most practitioners end up at some points, you know. So for me, that boils down to who is doing the session. Is it me? Or am I just being a tool for the other side to work through me, or for my higher self, or whatever? So every time I get lost, and I do get lost, all I have to do is just stop, regroup, like come back to my center, let go of doing, let go of like, I need to do something, and just go back into silence, stillness, openness, quietness, and listen. And through that space, I connect to myself again, because the only reason I lose connection and I don't know where to go is because I lose connection with myself. And so when I lose connection with myself, I lose connection with my client, automatic. So all I have to do is just stop, like be honest, like Matt said, basically be honest that I didn't fuck up, I lost the plot. So be honest. And sometimes I even say to my client, listen, I need a minute to reconnect. Wait, just give me a second. Stop, close my eyes, just go. Connect to myself, instantaneously connect to my client, instantaneously another impulse comes, and then flow starts again. So it's really a question of being honest and humble enough to realize when you fucked up. You didn't fuck up, but you just lost your way. And then rather than trying to fix it and going more into mind and into like thinking of what should I do, stop all of that, just handbrake and relax and wait. And then in that waiting, another wave comes through.
Okay, thank you very much.
I have a kind of a different approach to that. That's based on the nature of the roots of my work, working with consent and nervous system dynamics. When I catch myself that I think I know what's the best for that person, I actually set myself up to fail. Yeah. So whenever I'm in the point where I'm lost, I don't know what to do here, and then I shoot some energies around, and just like some of them might hit the right target, and then I'm lucky when the result is positive on the other side. Like Deanne said, just like really stop. And what I do then is I ask the person, what's going on in you right now, and how do you feel? Is there anything that you need right now here?
Okay.
Yeah, so bring it back to the person, and what do you need here right now?
Yes, because as you said, sometimes I'm doing things that they are working, but sometimes, and maybe I can feel a specific time that I can feel that I am a shaman or whatever, and some other times things that don't work.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, the more I listen to this, the first question I would ask myself is, why am I doing it? Like, what am I there for? Like, what am I doing? And who am I doing it for? Like, what's the real reason? What drives me? And then out of that, if it's because I want to do something, because I want to achieve a result, because I blah, 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 that's not really going to help anybody. It might be effective show, but that's all it's going to be. So then from Matt says, like, ask a client, basically always has to be client centered. So client is doing the job. We are just, like, I'm just a signpost, either with a question or with energy or with touch. The client internally is actually processing and transmuting energy. So as long as you are client centered and connected, like finger on the pulse of how do they feel, what's going on inside them, whether you're going to do it through energetic recognition, whether you're going to ask the questions like Matt says, or whether you're going to go through intuition and high knowing, it doesn't matter. But the point is to be connected to them, with them, to resonate, to go into resonance, to become one. Once you're one as a one field, natural flow will just go on. Does that make sense?
Yes, of course. Can I ask something more?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. There are some modalities similar in my mind to the art, like CAP, like spinal energetics, like Kundalini experience. I would like to ask first of all if there are actual similarities and what the difference is, and they also, some of these modalities are doing group sessions. What about the armoring? About the group sessions?
You're thinking?
Yes, I would say, as I said that before, and I would love to repeat that, is Dearmouring is a very individualized process. Yeah. And having a group process, and I've seen that, and there's some practitioner out there and facilitator out there. It's just like, let's say you have a group process, and the group process is we just push here, and then this is happening, and then we push there, and this is happening, and we do push here, and then this is happening. And now everybody does in the group process what the facilitator has just demonstrated, and then you just push the button that the facilitator pushed on the practitioner, and you want to have the response. And then some people, and then you have the group pressure, and everybody thinks and they have to have the experience that the demo person had. And I think this is dangerous. This is just my individual perception of that. I was saying
more to hold space for more people, not only one person, only one practitioner, to hold space for more people.
Of course we do it.
Yeah,
of course we do it. But again, the question is, what are we actually doing? Like what Matt was saying, like we're not sausages or robots that like one process works for everybody. But for example, when you do breathwork session, you have a group of people lying on the floor and you just ask them to breathe. And then they have individual processes. They're popping in different ways. So like it depends what kind of group you're talking about, what kind of process you're talking about.
So to kind of to finish my little thing is what I want to say is, some people think that Dearmouring is just you press here and then you get the response. Yeah. and then you just have a certain section or a certain procedure, like you just like do this and that and this and that in this amount of time on this and that body part. And I think that this is not really what de-armoring is about. So just a question here in the room, who thinks that de-armoring is pressing points on the body like on a map?
Like ABC.
ABC. Some people, and some people think that and some people do that, but this is not what it is about. As I said, that is a very individualized process, and it's not result oriented. Yeah,
Well, I could disagree with that one. It is result oriented, but not like we're not chasing. We don't know what the result is, basically.
No. Then I correct myself. It's not goal oriented.
Mm.
So we don't have a goal that we just try to achieve, that we just get out of it.
Mm.
Yeah, and then if we push the certain points and we don't get the result, then we just try something else to get the result that we want to have.
Mm.
So if this is in the space, forget this is not de-armoring.
Mm.
What is coming out to me, everybody will say is not a science. You are selling something that is just the liquor in the 80s on the market, like you will solve with this, with every problem. Sorry,
Skin oil.
yes, kind of stuff. You understand?
All right,
Because
so let me answer the question that Christina asked. What is not de-armoring for sure? So let's look at it. So in my definition, I'm interested in transmutation of energy, not transformation, and transmuting. I want to really dissolve the veil of separation, the veil of illusion. And I definitely want to have a result. Like I am there has to be result, there has to be a situation before and after. If there is no difference, the armoring hadn't happened. Something else happened, but not the armoring. So this is not what I was meaning, that like result in that sense, not a goal, like I'm not chasing now, I want to achieve this, but there has to be some kind of difference. Otherwise, what's the point? We're just wasting time and you might as well just have a coffee and or whatever. So what in my definition, the armoring is not something that doesn't produce lasting transmutation. So if it's, let's say, for example, and I'm not ditching it, so massage, for example, it's a beautiful thing. Body likes to be massaged, okay? There's a tension, and after massage, oh, it feels easier. The trouble with that is a week later, a few days later, a few hours later, the tension will probably come back, or tension will be somewhere else in the body. So that didn't really transmute. It helped in a moment. So that is not the armoring. The armoring would be if when they touch me, I literally dissolve and dissipate and annihilate, completely transmute, so that the tension doesn't come back. When the root of the problem is plucked out, when the root of the issue is removed, the thing doesn't happen ever again. That's the armoring. If that doesn't happen, that's not the armoring. So I don't know how better to say it, like what is and what is not, but the lasting transmutation, the lasting change has to occur. If it didn't occur, then it's not the armoring, then it's something else. Matt, how would you say?
What I would like to add to that is I copy that. It's definitely not de-armoring when the person who is practicing it knows better than the person being practiced at. That's not de-armoring.
Say this again.
yeah,
When the person who is doing the de-armoring knows better about the other person than the person who is being de-armored.
Okay, I see that.
Yeah.
Like I know it all and now I'm gonna do you type thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
not de-armoring.
All right. So any more questions in the space? Actually, Alex, you had 3 questions, but you asked 2. Was there a third one?
I asked the similarities and the differences about the other modalities like CAP, Kundalini experience, and spinal energetics and all that kind of stuff.
I think we covered that by telling that really dearmoring can be anything if it has a lasting effect on the energetics of the body system.
Okay, thank you very much.
How long should it last to qualify?
How long should what last?
The dearmoring, how long should it?
Session.
One session. Thank you.
Can be like literally one question, 1 minute, and happens and happens. Or it can be like some armor takes hundreds of hours of. There are some places in my system that for 20 years I'm at it, like systematically, little by little, like micro layers coming off, but still there. So it really depends. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any more questions about understanding dearmoring?
I have a question from Estonia.
Please.
Do you guys do it also from man to man? And the other question is, how do you get know about very new client? So is there anything that you do particular if you have new client you never met?
You mean how to generate new clients?
Yes, how to get know the person's problems in first session.
Oh, wait,
Okay.
different question. So
Yeah,
you know,
there's two questions.
Can I jump in? I think I got it.
Yeah.
Okay. First question. Yes, man to man is absolutely possible because it's not a sexual or an attraction tantra session. What I've seen many people doing is they're saying, I'm not working with people I'm not attracted to. So that means, yes, man to man, the armoring is absolutely vital and important and possible. This is to your first question. The second question is, every experienced practitioner of dearmoring should have an intake, and the intake has a certain amount of time, and this certain amount of time you have a certain questionnaire that you actually go to the roots. Why is that person here? What is the outcome? Where do you struggle in life, and what do you need support with? And so you need to have some questions answered before you can actually start working with a person. And I think working with somebody and then doing trial and error if you don't know who you're working with is absolutely unprofessional.
I mean, for me, like the whole session begins, somebody contacts me, whether through phone or message or email. My first question is, how can I help you? Like, why are you here? And so then they start sharing. And then as they start sharing, I ask more questions, and then the picture starts being clear or not. Very often I say to people, I'm not the one for you. You need to go somewhere else. And I send them, like actually I had someone today. We had a conversation on Zoom, quick chat. And my recommendation to her was to go and do primal therapy, and also to go and do some like 10 or so sessions of rebirthing, because I felt that was more appropriate to her need than what I can offer and what I do. So for me, very, very often, I'm not a guy. Like, for example, I don't work with sexuality at all. All of my sessions are clothes on. There is no sexuality at all. And very many people contact me for internal or sexual dearmoring, and I just send them to people who offer that kind of work. So that's another kind of answer to that question.
I have another impulse coming up I would like to chew on. Just in the group of people who would like to be the absolutely transformative healer that you just like without somebody else knowing, seeing straight to the roots, to the core of the problem, and you go over to this person like Jesus Christ and you just push your finger on a certain body part, and then this person is released and happy and healed forever. Who would like to have that skill?
No, the person needs to work for that. That's not enough.
It's not enough.
Well, I can do that, but it's not strong. A person needs to do work.
Yes, yes, yes. The person A needs to do some work, and I think, you know, on an energetic level, I know that some of us are so tuned in, and we might be totally spot on with what is needed at the moment. Yeah. But I think that nothing will replace this intake or the conversation before.
It really depends why somebody comes to you as well. Like it depends on definition of AMA that you uphold and work with. And so I don't know if, like, you know, somebody has a problem with the shoulder, like or like displaced vertebra, like Matt said earlier, then maybe send them to someone else. Or if you're working with something, like, for example, as I said, I don't work with sexuality. When people want sexual dearmoring, I could maybe do it. I could maybe like try to push myself into like offering something that I don't actually do, or I can just be honest and do what I do. And so this is why there are so many styles of dearmoring, because we all offer different things. We all come from different backgrounds, have different experiences, different previous trainings, different interests in life, different take on life. And so that really, again, will like create a completely different why you do something, or why somebody will come to you, and why you would do something or wouldn't do something. I hope that makes sense.
Thank you. Very good.
Any more questions?
So then the conference. Okay, you convinced me. I'm a Dearmouring master. Yeah. Now, what is the nature of our interaction? Like, should I come and teach? Or should I
Is
take
this for me,
or like, do I come to advertise my services?
Wait. Dennis, you're asking me for me, for the Samiko practitioners?
Yeah.
No, let's talk about it outside this webinar. This webinar is not designed for that, but we can definitely talk about it if you want after on Zoom or whatever.
Of course.
Yeah. All right. So any more questions to do with understanding what dearmoring is and the conversation that we're having here?
I have one more.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Do you suggest for the first time that the client comes that it's necessary to maybe to have at least 3 sessions and on a specific frequency in order to work?
Depends who they are, depends what they need, depends. Everyone is different. No rules.
Mm-hmm.
Matt?
Yeah, you know, in the very beginning of my work, I had this approach, kind of really going all in. You know, all in means just like whatever I was aware of energetically, on all levels. I just wanted to give the person the best possible outcome in a session. And a successful session for me was when the person was healed and doesn't need to come back. That was my approach, what I wanted, because I didn't want to make people dependent or coming back. Recognizing over years that I might have overwhelmed people. And on one point, and the second point is that create spaciousness that allows safety, connection, and maybe healing on dearmoring to occur organically. So offers packages of 3 sessions or 5 sessions or 10 sessions, whatever you need, and see what the purpose is of the person, why they're coming, and really ask the questions, with 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 questions.
This is great. Ask the question, the question, the question. Never stop asking the question, Matt. That was beautiful. I've never seen this before. Wow, what a great answer. Oh, Matt, this was beautiful.
Yep.
You know, when
Yeah.
when you said you should ask the question, the question, the question, the question, and you just kept looping. It was amazing.
Already, okay. I was just wondering what's going on. Have a little shame
bless.
attack. So saying, ask the question, what's the purpose? Why are people there? What do they need? And then you decide from there if you offer, I don't know, 3, 5, or 10 sessions, whatever is needed.
Christina is asking a question: if somebody's pain goes so unbearable and they disassociate or they leave the body, how to bring person back in the body and keep in the body? Well, the quick answer to this is, if you remember from the training, we, at least in our school, we work with a soft touch dearmoring. So that's, let's say, on a scale between 1 and 5. 1 is when you just touch someone and there is no kind of pressure, energetic or physical, just like touch. And 5 is when they contract and they can't conduct the energy. So I always want to be between 3 and 4. So it's not complacent and like a little bit lazy, or I can feel it, but like whatever, and being too contracted. So if you can keep it in between that arena, then they will never leave the body, because it will always be manageable, and they won't be bored and kind of start falling asleep because nothing's going on. Do you get me? So if you find that somebody is disassociating, it means you've kind of reached their threshold and they're kind of gone. But this also means that for some people, something that for you feels like 5, for them will be 1, and vice versa. So because we all have different pain thresholds, and we all, not pain, but like energetic resistances, ability to hold pressure. And so it depends who you're working with. With someone, you might have to energize more, whether it's energetic, so direct question, or finger pressure. And for some, you'll have to do less in order to accomplish the 3 to 4 pressure for them. Does it make sense? Matt, would you like to offer something to that?
No, I just wanted to say we are already, we have 10 minutes left, and we just might want to talk about upcoming events.
Let's see if there is any last question.
That is there something that I could do as a client to come back to the body?
Would you please repeat the question? There was little interference.
If someone leaves the body, could the client do something to come back easy? Could talking about it before? Could I
this
give
is a skill.
something?
I hear you. This is a skill that you as a practitioner need to develop, and it really depends on what type of work you do. But the skill essentially involves a very, very close observation of your client, communication skills, and your ability to keep things grounded and safe and steady and lovingly deep container of presence. So when combining all of that together, you're going to notice when client starts jumping out of the body, I call it the handshake. The handshake is the sensation, a feeling, a knowing that whatever I touch them, either right now I'm touching you with my mind, with my energy, I'm connecting with you, and you feel it because we are connected. So there is the handshake, we feel each other. If I start doing this, you might have a feeling that I left you. So the handshake doesn't exist. So when I'm in a session with a client and I'm feeling that connection, I will immediately feel if they disassociate and start leaving the body, because it will feel like this. And so then there are a number of ways I call them back in. I can verbally, I can shake the body, I can say, hey, what's going on? I can say, open your eyes, look at me, a number of different ways to make sure that they come back. And then also finding a reason why they disassociate. Are they not willing to go there? Are they not ready to work on that part of AMA? Is it just too unbearable? Are they, like, there are a number of, so basically this is what I mean, combination of space holding, questioning, observation, communicating, understanding what's really going on in every moment. That's where the skill comes in.
Kind of a counter question to you, Elsa. Is it for you as a client, so how to know how to stay in your body, or is it for you as a practitioner that the client stays in the body? From which perspective?
I think both.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, as a client, it would always be pretty much 100%. You don't feel safe. You don't feel safe to expose or to deal with whatever is being touched. That's really the reason why people disassociate. There is nothing wrong with it, and it's very just, and it's right. AMA is there for a reason, and not all the AMA can be opened right now. In fact, it would be bad if it did open. It would be unsafe. It's not wise. You're not ready, so keep it. So sometimes we're not ready, and so it's okay. There's nothing wrong. But the reason you would disassociate as a client is because you don't feel safe. You don't feel loved, you don't feel held, you don't feel seen, you don't feel safe, you know?
Okay, if there is no any other burning question, please, now is the time to
Going once, going twice.
Is there
Go for it.
is there anything a client can do prior to a session, like preparing?
Not in my case. Because I will ask them, the whole thing is through the process of coming to the session, they're already, nothing can prepare you for present moment. There is no amount of preparation that can get you ready for next moment.
Yeah, and you know, this is what I do when I do an intake before in a conversation or via email. I say, come with an open heart and with an open mind, and just be prepared to be vulnerable and let go. And all of you emotions, sensations, feelings are welcome. So it's an, you know, just like make sure that they feel safe. You just communicate this is a confidential, safe space, as much as safety exists, and prepare them for the unknown.
I think all of those questions, this is really amazing, but really at the moment we're only giving you intellectual understanding of all of those topics. But if you're really more deeper interested to find out and to apply it to your life, then really we invite you to come to the training, because that's really where the armoring has to be experienced. This is not something, it's not a theoretical exercise, it's not an intellectual conversation to be had. It's really to receive the experience. That's how you learn on your skin, really, how it works, how it doesn't, what are the dynamics that we just explained. So the invitation is, we have a training coming up in June. It's still some months away. It's going to be in Sicily in this most amazing retreat center. It's really quite amazing, at the bottom of the volcano Etna. So you're super welcome to come. If you want to find out about whether this training is for you or have a one-to-one conversation with one of us, please write us an email, and we are super happy to have a conversation with you and to just see if this is for you or not. The training is 11 days. It's not for everybody. I mean, it's not for everybody, but you know, let's have a conversation and see if maybe for you. And it basically is life-changing journey, combining two equally kind of 50-50 split. The split 50% is actual training, where you need to learn theory, you need to like cognitively learn many things, the armoring, and then other 50% is your personal journey. It's your personal experience where you go through the process of being de-armored to actually feel on your skin what it feels like when you're being de-armored. What does it actually feel? So it kind of the training is split in those two areas, 50-50. It's run by three of us. Matt, Sana, and I are teaching it, supported by a huge team of space holders. About 15 or 14 of us actually is holding space. So it's a super, super solid container. Yeah, you're very welcome to come. Matt, you want to say something?
Yeah, and if you have any further questions, I will just put the link from the webpage from the de-armoring training from that event here. So if
Great.
you have any questions, please feel free to go to that webpage, copy and have a look what's on there. And if there's any question that you have, please feel free. There's a link from my Calendly, so reach out and have a half-an-hour conversation. So you just get me on the full screen with this nice background, and it's not a sales call or anything. You just ask question and just see if this is for you. And I'm happy to have a conversation with you. And for DN, it's the same.
Yeah. So you can get me through the website. I think it's easiest, dearmoringarts.com. Or you can also get me on, we're going to send you an email. So Klaus is asking where you get a recording. We're going to send a recording to everybody on this email. Whoever is in this webinar is going to receive an email with a recording link. And we're also going to put the links to the training, links for the contacts, the email addresses, whatever you need to get in touch with us. So for these last few minutes, do you have any questions about the training itself? Anything that we can answer in like a minute or two? Or any future training about the armoring, not that particular training?
No, I guess if you have some questions, go to the webpage and just
yeah, it's all there. Yeah,
saturate yourself with the information that is there. But I'm just more interested in, and please feel free to write that in the chat. What's your takeaway? What has been resonating with you? What was your aha? What was your, your nugget? And please feel free to write it down, and something to write in return that you can leave her with a good conscience.
In the meantime, I thank you for taking your time and to being here with us. It's really beautiful to see you all and to connect with you and to share what we do. You're super welcome, as I said, to get in touch and come and learn and spread the word about the armoring and all that. Yeah, I wish you a beautiful evening and look forward to maybe seeing you at some other time.
Nice meeting you, and please stay tuned. There will be more webinars coming up in the next few months. So we have done quite some already. So there might come something up about what's de-armoring and sexuality. So how can de-armoring benefit you in your intimate relationships? Or how can you use the structure of de-armoring in your professional setting if you're not a body worker or hands-on practitioner of any kind? So please stay tuned, and we would love to see you back.
Okay, big hug to everybody. Have a beautiful evening. Until next time. Ciao, ciao.
Love yourself. Ciao, ciao.